Hey guys. Hey, so like yesterday, when you guys are watching, please state your name, school, and position so I know who's watching. Thank you. Oh, let me know if there's an echo because I'm also watching my stream. Hi, Andrew. Nice introduction, Calvin. Oh, okay. I'm so sorry. I'll mute myself. Hi, Anna. I feel like Calvin's workshops are always more super casual because you can see his face and what he's doing. So sorry about that. Hi, Jennifer. Okay, happy Calvin. Hi, guys. Okay, so I'll start at 8 o'clock, so that's in 2 minutes. Please get your officers to watch this because there's only 6 of you right now, and that's not that much considering you have 15 clubs and at least 15 editors because a lot of editors also share the tasks with historians. Okay, hi guys. So I'm just gonna test out the volume, or not volume, the audio right now. So just let me know when it's echoing and if not, it's getting better. Because I am not watching this on YouTube anymore. So I'm not sure where the second sound is coming from. Um, is it still echoing? Okay, I'll start as soon as I figure out if I'm echoing or not, because that'll make the presentation really hard to understand. Hi, Jason. All right, so I'm going to begin this presentation or this workshop at 8:03 a.m. And if you do have an echo, or if you do hear an echo, please let me know, and you will be able to listen to this workshop again after. So I hope that it fixes itself or somehow gets fixed. All right, so this workshop will be on news editors. It is a lot more laid back than all the other positions because the news editor records and all the club activity, but then it's not crucial to any district or division like organization. So it is really important, but if you do not do your tasks, there wouldn't be drastic penalties, even though you should definitely always make sure you get your submissions in on time. So we start with an overview about who you are and what you do in Key Club. So editor roles. There's usually two different types of editors for each club. One of them is a historian who takes photographs at every event and meeting, and then they end up creating a scrapbook at the end of the year to turn in for year in review at the district convention. And then there's also a webmaster or tech editor, and then their main job is to control the club website and just keep it updated, keep it pretty, just make sure it's very informative, and maintain all social media accounts. So if you guys have an Instagram, a Twitter, or maybe even maybe the editor even manages the Facebook page, it's just their job to make sure everything's updated and record down everything, so for memory, and then everyone can use it at the end of the year. There's also a lot of different jobs for editors. Like there's a bulletin editor where you might be making a newsletter for your home club, which I highly recommend. So it's really informative and it's pretty cute. And then there's also the division submissions. So the editor or the editors, if you guys have more than one, can split that amongst yourselves because that is another one of your tasks. So this is a news and bulletin editor, and you write, curate newsletters or articles highlighting events. You publicize key club projects, and then you send articles and visuals into the division and district. I know that in Division 2 specifically, we don't really separate editors between news editors and tech editors. So it's always just like under the umbrella term of editor, and sometimes a few clubs have historians that are to take pictures, but the roles are pretty lenient, so you guys can always just divide work among yourselves to see who's good at everything or who's willing to do the articles, because that is the most important part in terms of the division. Hey, you are an editor, so look how creative the slide is, because editors have to be creative. Kerning, which is, I think, a Photoshop term. I'm not that familiar with Photoshop, though. You have to make sure things are good looking. You don't have to be good looking yourself, even though I'm sure all of you guys are super, super attractive. And there's flair, newsletters, graphic standards, aesthetic, typography, style, artsy, photograph. So just looking at the slide itself, you can tell that it's artsy and it's very aesthetic and it's creative. So as editor, your job is to mainly just promote things like these and make sure everything that you put out for your club to see is pretty and eye-catching. Okay, just editor things. This is when Photoshop doesn't work. So as editor, you guys will be encountering this a lot. And there's bad kerning, which gets on your nerves. And 6:01 p.m., that's bad, because articles and visuals are due at 6:00 p.m. So once it reaches 6:01, then that means your submissions are late. So make sure you guys don't do this and try to turn everything in on time before 6:00. For future references, every single submission is usually due at 6:00 p.m. So if you're unsure about whether or not your submission will be late or not, just do it the day before, or submit it around 5 or even earlier if you can. And then these are helpful resources, tools, and programs for you guys to use. Help, I don't know what to do. There's a Google reflector for all officers, and if you guys go to these links, then they will lead you to the Google reflector, and then they'll ask you to request to join. And what it is just a huge email group where all the editors all over the CNH district and the district board members who regulate it, they just send out emails and keep you guys updated on things. And then if you guys ever have any questions, you guys can send out an email on the reflector, and that will be sent out to all the different officers and editors throughout the entire district. So that just keeps you updated and it gives you an extra resource for help. And I will be linking all of these to a beginning tasks email that I will send out after district convention. And then 2 is email the district news editor. So we have a division news editor who right now is me. And then there's also a district news editor who makes a district newsletter. And if you guys go to this email, which is cnhkc.dne@gmail.com, you can just email them with any questions. And right now, our district news editor is Tina Bowie. She makes super pretty newsletters. And if you guys just have questions that the division news editor can't answer, you guys can always just email her. And if you guys have helpful emails, you guys can just screenshot them and then you use them at the end of the year for award applications, because there's a lot of different types of recognition that editors can get, which is really different from like the Distinguished, Outstanding, and Appreciation Awards for other officers. So the third one is the CyberKey. If you go to cnhkeyclub.org, which is CyberKey, and then you click on the Officers tab and then go to Editor under that, you'll see a lot of different links and manuals that are specific to being an editor. And then there's also another tab for contests, and then there's the guidelines. So for guidelines for contests. And those are just different contests that you can enter as club editor. So there's like club attire, club video, club photograph. I'm not sure if there's club photograph, but there's club website, and then there's a club newsletter. So those are all different entries that you guys can apply for to be recognized at district convention. And then there's also a brand guide, which is basically a PDF that tells you all about graphic standards. 4 is ask your officers. Each club will be different, so your specific duties might differ because of which club you're from. So just make sure you always talk to your president and see what they want you to do, because it's their job to be delegating tasks towards you. And sometimes it may be to make a Flickr page and post all the pictures of our past event. Or sometimes it may be make a club newsletter so you can tell all the members about like the different events over the month. Or it can even be make a club video and showcase what upcoming events we have, what past events. So it's always up to the president to see what they want you to do. So if you feel that you don't have anything to do right now, make sure you reach out to your president to see how you can help. And then also talk to your lieutenant governor, which will be me next year, to see what specific duties that you can do division-wise or district-wise, and get trained by your predecessor. So right now you guys are all ELACs, and your current officers should be telling you everything they know about how to be an editor, and they should also be helping you out to get you prepared. And next year you guys will be ready to just start your term and not be that lost. Because in my experience, when I started out as division news editor, a lot of editors were confused on how to submit submissions. So make sure you guys ask your current officers about that now. You guys can always ask me, because I am DNE and then I will be LTG. So I'm always there for a resource for you guys, and I should know I should be able to answer most of your questions. So just make sure you get your training before you guys start, so everything will be a lot smoother once you guys do start turning in submissions. 5 is be inspired. There's examples of what you can do in terms of graphics and advertisements in the district news editor on issue.com, which is where most divisions post their newsletters, which Division 2 posts their newsletters on there. And then if you click on one of the newsletters and open it up on issue, there's a lot of related newsletters that will be really helpful, and they're from other divisions, so you can always see how pretty and how other divisions do things. If you go on Pinterest, it's always super pretty, super cute aesthetics on there. And then Behance, which I'm not completely sure what that is. And the programs you guys can use. These are usually just for the newsletter or for different advertisements. So Microsoft Publisher is the main one, because it comes with a lot of Microsoft Word applications and like the entire Word suite set, but it only works on a Windows computer. And if you have a Mac like me, Pages is a really good alternate to Microsoft Publisher, and I actually like Pages better than using Word. But if you guys don't have a Mac and you don't have Publisher, you guys can always try using Word, which I have done in the past. It's not the most simple thing to use, but it is pretty helpful in just like terms of getting different boxes and fonts and stuff laid out. And then there's also the Adobe InDesign and Photoshop and Lightroom stuff. InDesign will help you with different newsletters or page layouts. Photoshop could be really helpful for like flyers and advertisements. Lightroom is if you have a picture you want to edit, and then there's Acrobat and Illustrator. So those are all different kinds of programs you guys can use, except they're pretty expensive. And if you guys don't already have them, there's definitely a lot of free alternates for all of these. Like for Photoshop, I use GIMP right now, which is almost the exact same thing, except it's a little dumbed down and it's free. So I'm totally fine with that. Then others are Serif Pages Plus and Quark Express. So depending on what programs you have, you can always just look at these for newsletters and other different banners or flyers or anything else that you guys might make throughout your term. But one program that you guys should definitely have and it's not mentioned here is Microsoft Word, because every month your article submissions will be turned in using Microsoft Word, and if you guys don't have that, it makes things a little more complicated. Okay, this is one of my favorite websites, smallpdf.com. It's so cute and so pretty and it's so colorful. So what it is basically it lets you compress your files, it lets you convert your files, and it lets you just do anything you can imagine to a PDF. You can turn a PDF into a picture into a PDF into a PowerPoint. It's really helpful, and I recommend you guys to save this link right now because it'll help you out a lot during your year, especially if you guys have a file that's too big to just send out, because Gmail does limit the amount of megabytes that your files can be. So if you guys use small PDF, you guys can always make that super small, and it'll help you out. It'll help you send out submissions. Newsletter anatomy, the basic elements of a publication. So this is just how a newsletter should be structured. It's definitely not mandatory for any of you guys to have a newsletter, but I highly recommend that you guys start making a newsletter. It will be really cute, and it will be a really cute way to showcase Offer Club, and I definitely encourage you guys to start making one or drafting one over the summer when you guys have time. So over the school year, you have almost a template to work with, and that'll be really helpful. Okay, so you start with a president's note, or in the case of a division newsletter, you start with a lieutenant governor's note. I really recommend all of you guys to apply for a DNE, especially if you guys are already editors, because DNE is really, really fun, and you get to meet a lot of new people, and you get to see what everyone's doing. Okay, so you start with a president's note. It's just kind of an introduction from your club president to see what they're doing, and this PowerPoint was created by the district news editor and other members of the committee. So there's a lot of different samples from past newsletters that other clubs have had. So this is one of them, and they started with a president's note and an editor's note. So make sure you just have the president give an introduction and then an editor who also talks about what's in this issue, or you can also have the editor's note at the very end to kind of conclude your newsletter. 2 is education and article visuals. Education, articles, and features. So a lot of people don't really know about the different parts of Key Club or like things that Key Club supports. So with newsletters, it's a pretty visually appealing way to explain what each of these charities are or each of these parts of Key Club are. So make sure you include education, because newsletters is one of the best ways to teach Key Clubbers about different things involved with Key Club. 3 is club, division, district, and international updates. So just keep everyone updated with upcoming events and see what's going to be happening. So if when they look through the newsletter, they're not just bored with like what has happened and that they kind of missed out on and can't go because it was so fun. Just make sure you keep them updated about different opportunities that they still have left, about what they can still do and participate in. For service projects and past and future. So make sure you tell them about past events and like showcase pictures and articles about what everyone thought about it. So you can inspire more members to go to future events just because of how fun the events were in the past. 5 is member recognition. I know that a lot of some clubs have been recognizing members on Instagram, like Albany has, and Castro Valley recently started making a post about each officer or each member of the month for the month they're recognized and why they're recognized. So I really recommend doing something else beyond the basic one member of the month and you give them a certificate thing. So and putting them in the newsletter makes it all the more official, and it makes it more real that they are the member of the month and they are being recognized. So it gives the member a sense of pride and satisfaction, and it helps reflect back on your club in a positive light. So definitely look into different ways to enhance member recognition. And then this is just another version of what Division 4 North did for member recognition. They had one of the people they recognize tell about their story and why they're involved. So that's really good to just showcase and tell everyone about. Promoting publications. So build relationships and keep in close contact with the club officers and lieutenant governor. Reach out to your faculty and Kiwanians. Publicize at events and DCMs. Give credit where it's due. So basically, just make sure you tell people about your newsletters if you guys do make one, and then let everyone know about what you guys have done and how great you guys have been doing. So it provides updates for everyone who can't necessarily make it to your board meeting or your club meeting or they can't see your club report at the DCM. So this is a really easy way for everyone to just stay updated on how well you guys are doing on the day-to-day basis, so because they can look at it whenever they want. Distribution. Use up your space and keep file sizes low. So smallpdf.com will be really helpful in keeping file sizes low. And when you guys have a page, try to keep it filled and nice, because if you guys think of a poster and if you only have 3 pictures on a huge poster, then that's not very pretty. So just use up your space and try to keep the blank spots as minimum as you can. And don't lower the resolution of images, but to the point that you can't look at or can't tell what it is. Make sure that you make the pictures viewable and not really grainy, and keep text clickable, links intact. When you make a PDF, usually when you export a PDF, usually all the links will stay as a link, and if you guys upload it to Issuu, they automatically transfer. But then sometimes there are emails or other links that they just don't recognize, and it gives you that option to drag a box over and insert a link, so when they click on that, they go to that link, and that's really helpful. So make sure you guys keep text clickable. The last part is about graphic standards. Very important and emphasized a lot, but not a lot of people know about it. So as your club editor, you guys should be the ones that are most on top of this. So, okay, so these are all brands and labels and logos that we recognize, right? Because there's Facebook that I use to promote this workshop. So good job to you if you guys got here without Facebook. And there's Google that we use for all our homework help, Instagram, Tumblr, YouTube, and most importantly, the CNH CyberKey. So we all recognize these. And when we look at it, we can tell that it's from these brands. But then here, and we look at this, it doesn't look right. And look at the Comic Sans for the CNH CyberKey. So Tumblr has a bird, and Facebook has a search bar, and Google Plus has blue on it and blue background, and there's no more rainbow colors. And then YouTube doesn't have the red box anymore. So this is weird to us, and we don't understand what it is or why it's like that, because that's not how it usually is, and that's not how it's branded. So the purpose of this is just to say that branding is really important, especially for our CyberKey, if you want to try to make sure everything is Key Club related. So that's why we have graphic standards, and we just want everything that we make to scream Key Club. And articles. What gets featured in the district newsletter? When you guys write an article for your monthly submissions, make sure you talk about who, what, when, where, why, and how. So there are a lot of examples on the CyberKey and the district newsletter, and there's a Key Club magazine that you guys get in around fall. So there's a lot of examples in those, and then there's also examples in the division newsletter from past months that you guys can always look at and see how other officers have been writing their articles. Just make sure you tell about what happened and why should I care, because why should people pay attention to your article? Why should they read it? Why should they care that you guys went to San Francisco and helped out at some homeless shelter? Why does that matter? So make sure you tell that in your article, because when people don't attend things, it's nice to see what really happened and just how big of an impact they made and why they should care and attend things in the future. Be creative. Quotes from Kiwanis family or members of the community present at the event, videos, poems, or other forms of literature. So you guys can always talk about or talk to and interview anyone who attended that event. So when you think of a news article, there's always a bunch of quotes from people, and then you also have like different viewpoints besides your own. So if you guys can, please talk to them. And I know that some current editors have been doing that, and they've been doing really well. So if you guys need any help, feel free to ask your current officers, because they will be the most helpful in telling you how they do things, unless they don't do it, which is actually some of the clubs. But yeah, so be creative. And then the monthly submissions for editors include visuals. Visuals are usually just pictures, because that's the simplest. But if you guys make a video, or you guys like write a poem or some other kind of graphic of like a flyer or something, make sure you send that in, because they're also really cute and creative, and they give you something different to look at besides just pictures of people doing things. And it's always quality over quantity. I emphasize that you need to send in at least 3 pictures, but if you have like 10 pictures of someone doing the same pose, please just pick out the best one, because there's no point in having the same picture, because it will not be used in the newsletter 10 different times. So just make sure the quality of your pictures is always more than what you send out. Just always emphasize quality over quantity when you guys do your submissions, even though it's always better to have more pictures. Visuals, valuable visuals of service. When you guys are picking out visuals to send in, or when you guys are making newsletters and you're picking out visuals on what to use, just make sure you also emphasize who, what, when, where, why, and how. So make sure your pictures have a purpose and are relevant to your thing, to like your subject, and they tell you what it's all about. And then make sure it features the service. If it's a service event, make sure they're actually working, and then their faces and their hands are doing something. Don't just do a pose picture, because not only is that unprofessional, it's also really fake, and you can tell that it's posed, and it's not going to be the best reflection of what happened at that service event. And then choose from quality and focused visuals. So if you guys are a historian and you guys are at an event, or if you guys don't have your historian at the event and they ask you to help them take pictures, make sure you take a lot of pictures. So chances are your pictures are going to be blurry half the time. So make sure you guys take a lot, so you guys can have a lot of quality ones to send in, and then they're going to be in focus and they show you what everything's about. So there's examples on the CyberKey, district newsletter, and division newsletter. Last is recognition. There's a lot of different contests that the club editor can apply for. The first one is a club newsletter. So I really want all of you guys to start publishing a club newsletter, because it's a good way to get your club recognized and to just remind your members about what happened in the past if they kind of forget after a meeting or something. And then in order to qualify for this, you have to apply. There is an application and an e-portfolio that you have to make, but it's not going to be that bad if you're already in the habit of making a club newsletter. All you have to do is just compile different aspects of each of them and put them together. And it's contest-based judging. So there is a district judging committee that judges all of these applications, and you guys can always apply for that. It's pretty fun. There's also division newsletters, which is automatic entry because they're already sent into the district. So if you guys are interested in applying for a division news editor, just know that your newsletters are automatically entered into contest recognition. So please apply. And there's division news district tree. This is also automatic entry, and it's just to recognize divisions who have 100% on-time work. So the division news editor has to send in 3 articles and 3 visuals and a newsletter every single month. So that's just what their submissions are like, which is why the editor club submissions are so important, because if you guys don't submit anything, the DNE isn't going to have anything to submit to the district, and then that could hurt their district tree recognition, because no one wants to be late to anything and everyone likes to be recognized. So please, so everything you do does get affected by everything on top, because if the division news editor doesn't submit anything, then the district news editor wouldn't have that much to work with when making their district newsletter. So try your best and get everything in on time and at the best quality possible. Okay, more contests. There's a club video, which is also an application-based entry, and then it's an international contest. But I think that CNH reviews all the club videos first, and then they help if they let you move on to international level. So it's just a club video that promotes Key Club. It's not about a specific service event or a past like club activity. It's just about how your club has been promoting Key Club. It's kind of like an advertisement kind of thing for Key Club, if that makes any sense. And then there's a club poster. It's an application. It's also an application entry, and it's international contest. So after you get through CNH contest and you get recognized at DCON, you do get your poster application does get to move on to ICON. And the club poster is also supposed to be promoting Key Club, and you can have a physical poster, or you can make it digitally through InDesign or Publisher or Photoshop. The last contest is the most popular one, and it's a year in review application. Yeah. So it's an application entry, and it's also an international contest. But so you guys just have to make sure it's good and win CNH, and then move on to the international and get recognized. There's three different types of recognition. There's a traditional, there's a non-traditional, and there's a digital scrapbook. Traditional is just like a normal scrapbook, and you just compile all the pictures in the cutest and most appealing and most Key Club promoting way that you can. There's a non-traditional. So I know that I heard that some division in the past made like a huge dragon where they had like different parts of it showing what happened in their club during the past year. So you guys can go as creative as you want for the non-traditional scrapbook, but it has to meet the contest requirements. There's not that much, but it's really easy to get disqualified if your entry does not fit the requirements. And also has to be turned in on time on the first day of district convention registration. So it's also really important that you guys attend district convention so you guys can see your scrapbook or your review contest being recognized. And then the last one is a digital scrapbook. So the district has been moving towards going green a lot more this year. So a lot of things have been more online, and the digital scrapbook is just kind of like a newsletter, but it's you guys can make it as pretty as you want and just do anything you guys want about how you guys have done in the past year and just include anything. And you guys can have videos and stuff in a digital scrapbook. So just try to be as creative as you want and pick one of these three to do. You guys can do all three if you want, but that's a lot of work. Just make sure you guys do this, because this is one of the more mandatory tasks for an editor. Best practices. So these are just some tips that will help you out throughout the term. 1, save often and back up your files. So when you guys are working on something, just make sure you save like every 5 minutes. It does seem excessive, but the amount of times that Photoshop or or Publisher will crash on you is going to be so painful, and it will make you cry so many times. Just make sure you save it. And then sometimes even if you save it, your file might get lost, so make sure you back up your file. 2, set soft deadlines, a 48-hour rule. So right now, club submissions for articles and visuals are due on the 10th. Please do not turn them in on the last day, because a few clubs have been turning them in on I'm sorry, okay. So because a few clubs have been turning them in around like 6 o'clock, but then it's after 6 o'clock, so their submission was considered late. Always give yourself more time to work on it and try to turn it in as early as possible, and try to do it at least 2 days before the actual deadline, because that gives less stress on you and on the division news editor, because they're going to be worried that no one's going to turn in their submissions this month. 3, remind frequently. If you guys ask another officer to help you take pictures, make sure you remind them like every single day, because chances are they are going to forget at the actual event because it's not something they're used to doing. So just make sure you remind them. They might get annoyed because of how much you're asking them, but it's really important that you get pictures and visuals of everything that you guys can do, of everything you guys attend, so you guys can have a way to make that year in review at the end, or have just that end of the year recap. So this just makes things a lot easier. Set firm expectations. So when you guys ask your officers to help you take pictures, make sure you let them know that you expect them to be good and not just like some superposed picture that was done last minute because they forgot about it. So make sure you guys have them send in good pictures, and make sure you take good pictures yourself, because you can't expect anything from anyone else if you can't even do it by yourself. And make sure that you guys have really good articles, because my expectation is that you guys can turn everything in on time. So I'm sure you guys can do that. 5 is divide up your work. Eat that frog. If you guys have 2 different editors, or for like a historian or like a webmaster, make sure you guys divide up your work and see who's going to be making the newsletter if you guys decide to make one. I keep promoting it, but you guys should definitely do it. So who's going to do the newsletter, who's going to make that video, or who's going to turn in the monthly submissions. Just make sure you guys talk about it beforehand, like days before the actual submission date, so no one's super stressed out the last minute because they didn't know they had to do it. Believe in yourself. You guys can do this. You guys were elected into your positions for a reason, and you guys can do everything to the best of your capabilities, and you guys will be getting better throughout the year. So if you guys don't start out perfectly, then it's fine, and the DNE will be helping you, and your other officers will be helping you out too. So make sure you believe in yourself and give yourself room to grow. Okay, questions, comments, or concerns? This was a lot faster than yesterday, even though that was still 40 straight minutes. All right. Anyone? Questions? Yes. Okay, Calvin asks, if you don't have Publisher or the other programs, what can you use? So, like I mentioned, that if you don't have Publisher, you can definitely use Word. It's not the most user-friendly, and it's not because it's not tailored for these different publications, but it will work to some extent. And then if you guys don't have Photoshop, you can always just download GIMP, which is GIMP, and that will be the most Photoshop-like thing you can get. And that is the most Photoshop-like thing you can get. So it'll help you a lot when you guys are editing a photo or like trying to make a flyer on there. And if you guys don't have Word either, you guys can always try Google Docs. I know that they're trying this new thing with Google Drawings, so it's a lot more interactive, and so it's a lot more interactive, and you guys can access it anywhere. But it's like, I don't know, I feel like right now it's still kind of blocky and chunky, so it's not the smoothest thing you can use. But Google Drawings does work for small banners, and if you don't have Word, you should definitely get Word. Because if you don't have Word, Publisher, InDesign, or Pages, there isn't really a free alternative that you can use to make a newsletter, because it requires multiple pages of different additions and photos. And if you guys are just using Google Drawings, you guys can't really do multiple pages with that, or it's just not the simplest thing to use. So Anna asks, what are some programs you recommend for making newsletters? I'm making my newsletters on Pages, and I think that works for me because I've been getting really familiar with it. And then I'm also in journalism, so for my school paper, we use InDesign, and that's a lot more complicated, but it lets you set a template, and then after you have that template, you guys can just work on it a lot. Thank you, Anna. I know that not all the schools have free Microsoft Office though, but so InDesign and Pages are what I'm kind of familiar with, and that's what works for me. But I know a lot of news editors have been using Publisher, which lets you do 2-page layouts, and that's actually really helpful. So if you guys, those are definitely the top 3 I recommend. Any more questions? Okay, so I'll be going over graphic standards now. Hey guys. Okay, so this is graphic standards and beyond. Graphic standards and beyond. So what is the graphics department? There's a group of artists from all over the CNH district that come together and work on creating graphics. So all these B designs and different logos that you see are created by the graphics department. And then if you guys are comfortable with graphics or like have any creative ideas, feel free to join. And it's a really fun group of people, and anyone can apply and anyone can join. And then, so the purpose of the graphics department is to promote district and international initiatives through really eye-appealing graphics. Like, look at how pretty they are. Why are graphics important? Graphics are used to promote club, district, division, and international activities. So like I mentioned in the other PowerPoint, the graphics also help you recognize that this is Key Club. Like, if you've noticed that all these PowerPoints and presentations during all these webinars have looked really similar with like similar layouts and similar fonts, that's because that's just the Key Club brand, and you can tell that this is Key Club. An effective graphic is unique and eye-catching. It's simple, concise, and clear. It has correct information, it avoids confusion, and it follows graphic standards. So just when you guys are making a graphic or a flyer, just make sure you guys follow these, and that'll help you. These are more like tips and suggestions on what you should do and how to make it effective. So graphic standards it's used to help format publications and just keep everything consistent, so you know that it's Key Club. And clubs must follow both Key Club International and district standards. So it's Key Club International has like a pretty wide range of graphic standards. Then the district kind of it specifies on which ones work more for CNH and which ones it would prefer. So I'll go over those later. And just also enhance appearance and professional look of a document. So graphic standards with like the pencil and then the headers also make everything look a lot more formal and a lot more appealing. So if you guys are looking forward to that, just if you guys are making a document, please use that kind of header. And CNH graphics standards will help brand and promote Key Club. Key points about fonts. When promoting Key Club, use the 6 Key Club family fonts. So when anything Key Club related should be using the 6 fonts, which is, and the most common one is Century Gothic, and then other ones is Gaudi Old Style, Verdana, Walk Around the Block, Garamond, and I can't remember the last one. It's a super skinny script font that I've never used, but the main one is going to be Century Gothic. And when you guys are promoting a club, division, or region, you guys can customize your fonts, because you guys can be a lot more creative, because it's not about Key Club as a whole. It's just about your specific part of Key Club. So you guys can advertise it however you want. And then you guys can always use accent fonts to make everything pretty. Like even when you're promoting Key Club, you guys can have an accent font. Oh, so these are the fonts. So Myriad Pro was a new one that they added. And if you guys don't have any of these fonts, like Walk Around the Block, which is Walk Around the Block is it's not my favorite font, but then you guys can get it from myfonts.com or any of the websites linked on there. I also use Font 1001 and DAW fonts. So you guys can always get cute accents fonts on any of those websites. Or sometimes what I do when I look for fonts is just I Google Easter fonts, and then there are like 3 different links that have like fonts with the word Easter in its name. So that works for me. About the pencil. So I'm sure you guys have all seen a pencil on some Key Club thing. It has to be the full width of the entire document, and the only thing that can be on top of it is text. So sometimes people have been putting the Key Club symbol on top of it, and that does not align with graphic standards. And then inside the pencil, the text also has to be aligned to the left. I know sometimes it might work better on the right, but graphic standards says it has to be on the left, and the pencil has to be going to the right. It cannot be going to the top, to the bottom, or like just in any direction. It has to be facing right. The last one is, or multiple pencils cannot be on top of each other, and it has to be at the top of the page. So on one page, you can only have one pencil because that's the only spot that the pencil would work at. And then, like I said, the pencil has to be straight. So it has to be horizontal and only going towards the right. And I know that sometimes incorporating the pencil might be hard, but you only have to have it on the first page of really official Key Club documents. So if you have graphics, infographics, or media, or different types of flyers, you do not have to include the pencil. The CNH district logo. So this is actually a new logo that they made 2 years ago, and it's a lot more colorful and prettier than the old one. It takes some getting used to though. But so they have a minimum size for how big that is because they do want it to be visible, so and read and legible even when it's super small. And you have to make sure that it has a border around all its edges. So if you see the yellow band, the width of that has to be the width of it, the minimum width of its distance from other things around it. So yeah, so the width of the outer circle is the minimum space that can surround the logo CNH district map logo. And then it also has to be half an inch away from the left side of the document, and then it has to be centered between the top of the page and the pencil. So this usually goes above the pencil and it's part of your header. There's also a black and white version of this. And on the bottom, you can see the different headers with the pencil and then the text on the left, and then the CNH district logo and the wording. So on the CNH word art, the CNH has to be bolded, and there has to be the width between the word has to be expanded, so it's not cramped up together like you see in the second one. And it also has to be on the top right of the document. So the B of club has to be where the pencil's tip is, or like where the triangle thing starts to go down. And I think it's easiest to find the logo or find the word art on the Cyberkey because if you go on to cnhkeyclub.org, there's a tab called resources, and then you go down and then there's graphics. It's the easiest way to get it from there because it's a picture and it's easier to work with than trying to create it yourself because getting the width right is gonna be the most challenging. Colors. I personally don't like these colors very much because the different coding doesn't always look like the color that they display. So try your best to incorporate these into any Key Club documents, but these should be the colors of all your pencils. And yeah, so these are the colors, and then I'll add the CNH band guide to the email for beginning tasks, and that will include all of these. And this is a Cyberkey that I've been talking a lot about. So if you follow all the B's and you go up to resources, so this is what it looks like when you open it up, and then you go to the different tabs and you go to resources and you go all the way down to graphics, and you can come to this page where they have all the different things, and then there's like logos with the CNH logo, the Key Club International logo, and then there's a word art. And then there's graphics, which is where all these bees are from. And then the last one is templates. So it has templates for PowerPoints, minutes, board agendas, and everything like that. So it comes with a file that already has the pencil and then the headers in it. Questions, comments, or concerns? I know that was a lot and it's been a while, so okay. So Anna asks, for Issuu, would we use Key Club as our profile name? So Issuu is that's definitely up to you and what you would choose to do for your home club. But what's most common is that your name is, so in your case it'll be Castro Valley Key Club. So your name would just be Castro Valley Key Club, and your email will be for the club account or whatever account that you would have access to. So that's just what it's your personal preference and what your club prefers. Any more questions? Okay. I think I'll be ending this webinar at 9 o'clock. So make sure you guys think of any questions before then. And I have one more thing to show you. Hey guys. Okay, so this is the article submissions, and each month on the, oh, I didn't go over them that much. Okay, so each month on the 10th of every single month by 6 o'clock p.m., every club needs to submit an article and at least 3 visuals to the division news editor. So your current officer should know a lot about this because they do this every single month. And you just send an email to division do2.cnhkc.dne@gmail.com, and you tell them, and you list your, oh wait, I'll just show you. And you list all your you list everything that you're including in that email, and you also have a club summary. So I have it right here. Okay, so this is a sample email that I made that goes over your submissions. And I made this for Castro Valley because yeah. And then it basically just says, hello, I have attached the following. And it says the monthly club report because that's like the brief summary of what happened in your club. There's an article, which is this one down here, and 3 different visuals about each of those things. So make sure you title all your visuals with the event initials. So make sure you title all your files with the event initials and number them if there are more than one. And this is just, make sure you CC your submissions to Calvin and Jenny, and use this format when you submit your email. So say month, submissions, and club. The new DNE might be changing this up, but this is just what you should be expecting. And here, list out everything that you have in the email and just specify what all the articles and visuals are of. And this is your club update, and just keep it short and brief. A lot of club updates have been really long. A lot of them have been really short, but then there's just this set spot for each club to make their update, and it looks a little weird when some clubs have a really long one and other clubs only have like 1 sentence. And then for your files, you should label them with DO2, so that's the same every single month, with event initials, and the last one is a number picture for the event. So if we have 2 pictures of the same event, just put 2 or 3. It's always better to have more photos from the same event because it will be like nicer to put together and it matches with an article more. And make sure each visual is sent individually. I know it's possible to send them in as a group, but if you can, or just make sure you guys put them as individual files. And try to stray away from sending photos that are blurry or posed, and make sure they're doing action. So those are just more tips on what kind of pictures to pick out. And if you guys do have too many pictures that don't fit on your, if you guys have too many pictures that don't fit in the email subject, I know that some clubs has been using Push, Puush, and then you guys can upload your pictures on there and then just attach a link to the email with the attach attach a link to the email with that photo. So that could work. And then some people have just been sending them in on Dropbox. So if you guys have too much, if you guys run out of room on your email, you guys can always come up with other methods and work with a DNE to see if that's acceptable. And make sure the article is in its own Word file, and then you guys can always ask members for help on these. So if you guys didn't go to an event, any of the events in a month, or you guys have never taken pictures from one of these events, you guys can always just ask your members and see if they took a picture or if they're willing to write about it, because it's nice to have members be recognized in the division newsletter. Okay, so this is going back to the thing I had before. This is the template for article. So this will be event name, and then this will be, you fill this in with your name and your school. So you have to have Word to access this. And this is set up like, this is set up the way that the division news editor will have to send this into the district. So when you type here, it's already set to a set font and style and font size. Okay, so when you guys do this, it just automatically goes to the column. And so please stick to this format, and you guys don't have to attach any pictures to the Word document at all. Just make sure you guys do it like this and leave it alone. It's really simple. All you have to do is just write on it. But if you guys don't have Word, you guys can always send in the article using Google Drive. I did make a template for Google Drive last year, but you do have to copy and paste it every single month. And then some clubs have been submitting their articles as a PDF because they don't have Word. So that also works. It does just depend on the division news editor next year, but it's definitely the most efficient to have Word. All right, and now I'm done. And any questions? 3 more minutes for questions. Oh, so I haven't sent out this template yet, but once you guys do start your terms, I will be sending this out as part of the beginning tasks email, and the division news editor will be posting it and promoting it a lot throughout the months. So once the division news editor has been appointed, they will be making Facebook posts, sending emails, and they will be creating their own sample email submission to help out all the editors in the way that they would want it. So you guys will be receiving this template soon. You guys can also ask your current officers for it if you guys want. I'll link the brand guide in the chat so you guys can take a look at what it is. And like I mentioned before, the colors are super off, so it's not going to be the most helpful for you if you guys want to get that color, but you guys can always try. And then the first one I sent you was a CNH specific one, and then the second one is the entire Key Club International one. So CNH is definitely more suited for our needs, but the district or the international one has a lot more information. Any more questions? So glad I have music, so there's no awkward silences like Calvin and his secretary presentation. Okay. Okay, it is now 9 o'clock and I adjourned this workshop. I'm so sorry. Calvin wanted me to say that. Okay, bye. Thank you guys so much for watching. And if you guys have any future questions, you guys can always just email me or message me on Facebook. Bye. Thank you so much.